Your season-long fantasy football team might be going strong, but now you don't have to wait until Week 16 to get paid. Now you can put your fantasy skills to the test every single week at DraftKings.com. They're America's favorite one-week fantasy football site, and with one-week fantasy, there's no season-long commitments. At the beginning of the season, I would have never imagined that the running back from Atlanta, number 24, Freeman, would have blown up like he did. He had 37 points in my league last week. Now I can get him at DraftKings.com. It gives you an opportunity to kind of hit the reset button every single week. Maybe you didn't think Vincent Jackson was a stud. He got 31 points in my league last week. Maybe you've got an injured player. Well, it's no problem. You get to go ahead and pick up new players every single week. It's like a brand new season. You don't get stuck with the same guy. What if you got stuck with Des Bryant and Tony Romo? They're both out. And get this, DraftKings is crowning a new millionaire every week this season. That means now you can turn your love of fantasy football into a payday of a lifetime. You just pick up your players, pile up the points, and pick up your cash. That's it. You've never experienced football like this before. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. So hurry to DraftKings.com right now and use promo code FLAIR. And play for free with your first deposit in this Sunday's $1 million fantasy football contest, where first place takes home $100,000. Enter promo code FLAIR for free entry right now, only at DraftKings.com. That's DraftKings.com. If you enjoy Woo Nation, go to DraftKings.com and use promo code FLAIR right now.
A man who wears the 10 pounds of gold, the nature boy, Ric Flair.
You know, I always like to take this opportunity to talk about myself.
The 16-time heavyweight champion has arrived.
I've got the style and profile like never before.
The greatest talker in the history of the business is behind the mic once again.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, wheeling dealing, limousine like, jet flying, son of a gun. Woo!
This is Woo Nation with Ric Flair.
I'm the man. Ric Flair.
Hey, this is the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, 16 times your world champion, the host of Woo Nation, along with my fabulous co-host, multi-millionaire eccentric from Huntsville, Alabama. I mean Hulk Hogan millions. I mean Jim Andrew millions. The biggest house on the biggest side of town, man. Conrad. And today, Conrad, we have the biggest guest we've ever had. The biggest guest we've ever had. We've got the man referred to by the late, great Jay Strongbow as the Golden Goose. The man that brought the WWF into prominence alongside Vince McMahon, the legendary Hulk Hogan. Hulk, how are you, man?
Good, brother. Every time I hear those woos going, I see the dollar signs going with them, man. I hear a woo and I'd make money.
Here's what kills me. Every time I'm with you, your line is still longer. Damn it all. We were wooing on Saturday. I'm back down there signing stickers, and he's signing real autographs. I don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh, man, we had a good time, didn't we? That was a lot of fun.
That was great, yeah. Good turnout, good people to work for. So how you doing, man? You're down in Florida right now, right?
Yeah, man, everything's good. Just regrouping, making sure everything's pointed straight ahead and got the restaurant going and got the beach shop going and got 20 million irons in the fire and just trying to stay out of these darn airports. Seems like I'm living in the airport.
Yeah, I know. It's good. I know. But
I'm grateful for it, brother. Thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Who'd ever thought that we'd be in a position making this kind of money, post-wrestling? It's there. I mean, for the guys that are, coming out of the business, if they've got some name recognition and they got someone smart representing them, Hulk's got Darren, I've got Melinda. It could take someone special to handle this. But, boy, there's a lot of money to be made, and Hulk and I are both living the dream. It's a hell of a deal, especially now Hulk's got a really big deal going over in London. Not London, Manchester, Hulk?
It's Sheffield Arena over there on the 14th.
Sheffield Arena, okay. And I just came back from there. There's a ton of money to be made in Europe. So, here's the deal. Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair. I was the world champion in Atlanta. WTBS and Jim Barnett said to me, this guy coming over today, Sterling Golden's going to be the biggest star in the business someday. And I said, what about me? and Hulk, that's the first time we met, right, Hulk?
Yeah. When I came to Atlanta, I was had been wrestling as Terry Boulder for a while. And, I drug Brutus along with me on a bar down in Cocoa Beach when that thing shut down. I, stumbled back up to Pensacola, in the Fuller territory. And next thing I knew, I made a quick stop in Memphis, and then Barnett talked me into coming up there. And it was just, I had a full head of hair at the time. And Jimsy, he was saying, oh, Sterling, my boy, I'm going to make you my champion, and Jim was just flooding around the place, having a blast, and they had me, put me, Austin Idol, and Superstar Billy Graham in a 6-man tag the first week on TBS, and I think we just confused the hell out of everybody because we were all working the same gimmick. Of course, Superstar had it first, and everybody else was a ripoff, but me and Austin Idol were doing a version of him, so I think we confused the hell out of everybody. But one thing I want to talk about, Rick, is a minute ago you were talking about at our age in this business to still be able to go out there and generate revenue and stuff. That's one thing. Number one, I never thought at 62 years young I'd still be running around with you, having fun, being able to make a living. But the thing I didn't understand is I always thought, I said, man, when I'm 40 years old, I'm going to be done with the wrestling business. When I'm 45 years old, I'm going to save my money and be done with the wrestling business. But the weird thing about this business is once it gets in your blood, I never want to be away from it. This is one of the saddest times in my life right now because I'm not with the WWE. And you love the business. Your daughter has now given the Divas finally this crazy history type credibility, and it's just amazing what's happened to a couple guys like us. And the thing was, it's not that we're making money, we're still around. The thing is, this business is in our blood. And there's not a whole heck of a lot of these guys like you and I around it. We live for this business. Maybe we're marks, but you know me, Rick, and I know you, and it's in our blood.
Well, I'm a mark. I don't mind telling you. Listen, hell yeah! Let me tell you something. He doesn't even remember this stuff because he was going 100 miles an hour. But the one thing that I'm going to go back, I got so many thoughts on my mind. But when Hulk was running wild, man, Hulkamania in the 80s, right? And I was on the other side. We bumped into each other. And people need to understand this, and I've said this in several interviews. I used to go out as Hulk knows for 8, 9, sometimes 12 weeks at a time as NWA champion. I was going everywhere, Japan, Australia. But let me tell you something. Those guys working for Vince were on the road sometimes 70 days in a row, right, Hulk?
Oh, it was brutal. Yeah, it was.
But I mean, 70 days, man. And those guys were pulling it too. I mean, everybody was running wild, and it was just, I bumped into Hulk one time, and I remember that one night he came buzzing him with the big boss man. And he had a hell of a run with him. What a great guy, Ray Traylor. And then I'd see him another night in St. Louis, or I'd see him in Philadelphia, and they'd be in the Spectrum, we'd be in the convention center, and both sold out. It was phenomenal. So, and then we crossed paths in St. Louis when he was working for Verne before he went over to events. And, we just have seen each other for over the years and had so much fun. And I don't mind telling you, Hulk, and I tell this to everybody, I never worked with anybody in the business except maybe one guy who is as over as you are in the world in one state, and that would be Kerry Von Erich with Pretty Pig in Dallas. I'm never going to say it wasn't huge. But to work with him, we had a routine down, Conrad. It was, I agreed to quit giving him the knee in the stomach, and he agreed to start throwing me farther out in the middle of the ring, and that got trouble on me, right? But he hit him. My only offense was my chop in the Wooooo, right? He let me hit him as hard as I could. Boom, boom. He got that big chest. He'd make the comeback, man. He'd look at me and say, "It's getting close to room service. Let's go." Into the rope. I'll meet you in the bar for a cold while we're waiting for the food.
Man.
It was sold out every night. The night before I won the Royal Rumble, he and I were at the Boston Garden for the first time. Sold out. This is 1992. I had never seen this kind of stuff before, man. And I didn't have to do nothing. I wasn't even working hard. He was so over. He boom, 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 and we do our stuff at the beginning. I'd cut him off. He'd sell his leg. put the figure 4 and we'd turn it over.
Yep.
I'd suplex him straight up and down. He'd know. I'd say, no, sell this. I'd get up, flex, turn around the car, and looking at me, shaking the finger. And we're going home.
We're out.
It was the greatest thing of all time.
It turned out great. I wish we'd have ran into each other, 10 years earlier, but we were.
Oh, I know.
What people don't understand. When I was running all those days, and you were running all those days, no disrespect to anybody, but your NWA run, Ric Flair was the man, so you were out there by yourself running. And on my end, I was out there running by myself because we didn't have The Rock and Stone Cold and Triple H and all those guys back then. For a while, it was just you and me on different teams, and so we had to do all the doubles and make them all. So it was a pretty good run there for a while.
Yeah, but here's the difference, and I got to point this out when I have the opportunity. You were in Madison Square Garden, and I was in Hutchinson, Kansas. Okay? And I was wrestling at a carnival, with 300 people walking around in cow shit by wrestling my $300 wrestling booth. I had to find my way around Russia. That's what I used to call. They said, we're this week. I'd say Moscow. Are you kidding me?
Hey, so I want to hear you guys talk about a story that I heard you tell in private once, which was awesome, about when the WWE or WWF at the time came to town. It was Harley Race's territory, and there's 2 shows going on that night. And, Rick, you're at one, and you run into Harley, and I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, well, Hulk and I talked about it. Some of you guys don't realize where Hulk and I have been. So Harley, so damn mad at WWE at that time, WWF at that time. He's leaving me to wrestle Brody over, and we got 3,000 people. He's going over to the convention center to kill Hulk.
Oh, God.
And he goes, he pulls out his 9mm, touches his pants, and says, I'll be back. Smokes your cigarette, throws it out. So, Hulk, you were on the other side of the story.
What people don't understand is he had been in Kansas City his whole life. He was the NWA champion, and that TV was piped into Kansas City. Harley Race is the champion, Harley Race is the champion, and he had his friends and neighbors. He had to respect the people in the airport and all around there. Then all of a sudden, clowns from Connecticut, Hulk Hogan and Vince McMahon start piping in this TV that goes, Hulk Hogan's the WWF champion, just out of nowhere. And then we follow up the service the market to come into the marketplace and wrestle. And Harley came down there and he tried to light the ring on fire during the afternoon because the ring crew said he's already been here and tried to light the ring on fire. So I went across the rough. They all told me he was going to kill me, so I went across the street to the Rusty Scupper and drank 2 bottles of wine. And I just came sliding back over there right before the main event, hoping to miss him. I was sitting on the toilet doing number 2, and I had my pants down. And Davey Boy Smith goes, McGivn's here, Harley's here, Harley's here. Davey Boy Smith started screaming. I pulled my pants up, didn't even wipe my rear end, and blowing out of the bathroom to find him. And he was standing there with that gun in his hand going, I came here to blow your damn kneecaps off, but I'd rather work with you guys. He scared the hell out of me.
I scared the hell out of everybody.
But I knew he'd already been there during the day trying to burn the ring down, so we shook hands, and I hooked him up with Vince, but boy, he scared me to death, man, because I knew him before Tampa when I used to follow the wrestlers around. When all these guys come to Tampa to wrestle, I used to go to the Imperial Room over there on Armenia Avenue and follow them around after the matches, so I pretty much knew what Harley was all about.
Well, the thing about Harley Race, which you have to love about it every day, I never took it like this, and certainly I wasn't considered anything like Harley Race as being tough. But Harley Race really thought he was the world champion. he loved someone to give him some shit. He loved to get into a bar, and he'd rather go over to the pool table, knock every quarter off, and sitting there with 20 guys and say, I got the winner, and start smoking a cigarette. He just couldn't avoid it. I'd go, Harley, geez, let's have a drink and relax. No. He'd be biting the beer caps out the bottles. You've seen that, Hulk. You know what I mean? Who can drink the beer the fastest? Jesus Christ. I'd go, Harley, let it go for a minute, man. But anyway, it's a great time. He's having a real tough time right now, Hulk. I hope he's around, a little bit from now, but he's really sick. I
haven't seen him since last WrestleMania.
Yeah, no, he just had, and you would know more about this than certainly I would. He had a 9-inch rod put in his back I mean, he's going to have this back surgery. You just had 11 of them, right, or 10, whatever it is.
9 of them.
9 before they finally got it right. And if the surgery had not been successful, he would have been paralyzed from the waist down.
Wow.
Well, the surgery was successful. He can feel his legs, but he can't walk. He's in a wheelchair, and right now they just transported him from the hospital to a nursing home, assisted living. He can't nobody can take care of him. He has to be, and it's, God, that happens when you get like that, then you get pneumonia.
Yeah.
I keep worrying about it every day, but to see this guy, and Conrad, I know you've met him a couple of times.
Yes,
You've
sir.
seen him at the tail end, man. When me and Hulk was this guy, he lived it, man, every minute, man. Holy cow.
Well, I got a quick Harley race story for you. My first territory, when I went up and worked for the Fullers, we went outside to the ballpark in Dothan, Alabama, and we went outside.
Oh, you guys sold it out big time, right?
Yeah, and so we're out there, and Harley Race tells me the hard way tonight, and I didn't know what he's talking about. Buck me up, and he yelled at me a couple of times, so I kind of like clipped him to the top of the forehead. You know how thick his forehead was? He's like a Cro-Magnon man. So I kind of pulled his eyebrow down and tried to clip him with my knuckles to bust him open, and his eyes swelled up. And he started cussing at me. And the next thing I know, he throws me out of the ring. And by the time I hit the floor, by the time I'm starting to pull myself up, he's already out. He grabbed some ladies, one of those big, like, not a Polaroid camera, but a big one of those real cameras with a big long lens on it. He just smashes that thing in my face, and both my eyes swell up, and he goes, "We're even." And he threw me back in the ring. But that night, I guess Roy Lee Welch or somebody was screwing with the money from the box office, and we all went to a hotel room, and man, it got really nasty with Don Curtis, and I guess they were accusing Don Curtis and Roy Welch of stealing and stuff, and Harley got really up in everybody's face. Ron and Robert Fuller were in the room. It was crazy. I got a good education that night.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's funny because, everywhere Hulk went, we would hear about it. You know what I mean? This is before he even went to Vince, because, I mean, they were, or everybody that he reached, or everybody that had the ability to reach out to him, whether it be Memphis for a couple of shots with Lawler or whoever he worked with, but it sold out. I mean, and then he worked with Funk a couple of times, and it sold out. And then Harley, and then, then Fuller, and those guys. I like Ron a lot, but, it's $5 for you, 2 cents, or $5 from him, 2 cents for you, right? I mean, I love Ron, but
Harley Race got his money. Harley got his money.
Oh, I'm sure, but I mean, now it's not without pulling teeth. You know what I mean? Jeez.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So anyway,
hey, let's circle back just for a minute, Rick. You were talking about the Rumble '92, and this is the question everybody wants to know. It seemed like a no-brainer, Hulk, when Rick first came in, that you guys were going to be programmed together at WrestleMania 8, and we've heard a bunch of different reasons as to why that didn't happen. What's your perspective as to why that dream match of the Nature Boy Ric Flair and the Immortal Hulk Hogan didn't clash at WrestleMania 8?
I don't know. I mean, I was in my own world, and I don't mean to say that I didn't have a clue on what was going on, but if I had anything to do with it not happening, it could have had a lot to do with what my personal relationship was like at that moment with Vince, what kind of personal relationship I was having at home, and depending on how, because that would screw me up sometimes. I mean, a lot of things depended on it, but for some reason, it just seemed like we could have done a year and a half, 2 years worth of business just putting Hogan and Flair together and flipping the belt back and forth 4 or 5 times. And as soon as they put us together, we broke all the, Rick knows the numbers in Chicago and all the places we went. We broke all the records.
Well, that was WCW.
Yeah, but when we went with Vince, we did all kind of numbers too. We were headed to WrestleMania, and they just shut it down and switched gears on us.
It's a question I've never asked, Vince. And the reality of it is I tell people, I was having so damn much fun there. If you think about where I came from and the personal insecurities that I found with myself with Jim Herd and me cutting my hair and all that. I mean, I was flipped. And so I think, I had friends in WWF too. It wasn't like I didn't have friends. I just didn't think I'd ever have to go because I figured Crockett would be there forever, my backyard. And yeah, I wanted to go. There's a guy named George Michael who's not with us anymore, a guy that had a sports show in Washington, D.C.
Sports Machine. Yeah.
Sports Machine. And he would do these things. He loved me and Hulk. And he would do these shows that just talked about how much money there'd be when Hulk and I wrestled, right? So the angle was already made. The weakness in the link, and I'm first to admit where I'm weak, I didn't have... He started us on the West Coast. Our first match was dating and playing around one night when Hulk told me, listen, it's my way or the highway, kid. Hit me with a chair 3 times, put back in the ring. I said, it's got to be easier than this.
You're terrible.
No, I was telling you, hey, you can press slam me, so I don't do any of that bullshit. Don't worry about it. Just swallow me. Okay. Anyway, but we go out to California, and here's the deal. Bobby Heenan would manage me. It was so damn easy. But I really didn't have the exposure from TBS guys. I mean, that was the only exposure I had because the penetration wasn't as big in that time as it is now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So our first loop was Oakland, L.A., San Diego, Phoenix, and then back to the Garden. And Bobby Heenan, I had Heenan so screwed up over the weekend. He quit when we got to New York, remember? I'm not hanging around you for 4 days in a row. But but we sold out everything. Even Oakland sold out. But I didn't feel like I was over as much. When we got back and we went to Chicago and towns like that, then I felt like I was carrying my own weight. Does that make sense?
I want to ask Rick a question. I've never asked you this question. When you had the NWA belt, did they pay you more than the guy you were wrestling?
Yes.
Okay. Now you have to understand.
But I was supposed to get 10%. The only guy that ever paid me 10% of the gate was Don Owen.
Yeah, well, see, a lot of guys don't understand. Everybody's, it's a work, and it doesn't matter if you win or lose. It doesn't matter how you look or this, that, and the other. But for me, when I went up to New York, Vince McMahon wanted me to work strong, just like you said, you'd suplex me, you'd tell me not to sell. Vince kind of wanted me to work the gimmick, the Hulk. But the whole thing was, when I went to work up there for Vince McMahon Sr., his tradition, and his, just the way he ran the business, he always paid the champion like Bruno or Backlund more than the other guy. So when I came in under Vince Sr. was still alive when I won the belt from the Iron Sheik. I came in under that banner. I fell into that loop where the champion gets paid more. So all of a sudden, I'm realizing this is a shoot, brother. This isn't a work. I mean, the longer as I can keep this belt, I'm going to make more than anybody. So a lot of guys don't understand. They say, well, Hulk was a politician, or he did that, or he did this. You're damn right I did. I wanted to get along in the dressing room. I wanted to get along with Vince McMahon. I wanted to get along in the car. I wanted to make sure I kept my damn spot, because a lot of guys don't think about it that way. But when I went up there in the early 80s, it was a shoot, brother, if you were the champion.
Oh. All right, Hulk, you actually mentioned hanging on to your spot right there, and we need to take a break just for a second to tell our listeners how they can get a spot at this weekend's big games using the brand new SeatGeek app. And there's a lot of big games this weekend. Rick's actually going to the Cowboys-Patriots game right there in Dallas, and if you'd like to have a great ticket to that game, you need to download the SeatGeek app right now. You can even use the promo code Flair in the app to get a $20 rebate off your very first purchase. It only takes a minute to download, so do yourself a favor and download the SeatGeek app right now. It really does create like a one-stop shop. It pulls in all the other ticket options from all the other websites. You get to see it all on one page. It even tells you where the good deals are. They rank them 1 to 100. It's color-coded and interactive. It doesn't get any easier than this. You can even actually store your credit card information. So once you get going with SeatGeek, you can just tap twice and boom, you've got tickets to the next big game exactly where you want it at the right price. And best of all, you get $20 off your first purchase. All you've got to do is type in promo code FLAIR, that's F-L-A-I-R, and SeatGeek's going to hook you up with a $20 rebate right away. And you need to do this to support the show right now. Do yourself a favor, download the SeatGeek app. You're going to get a great deal and support Woo Nation. Let's get back to Hulk Hogan.
Hey, I tell people that. I mean, I've told Conrad that, it's like if the Hulk had Orndorff, Hot Rod, God rest his soul, but Orndorff, Hot Rod, I can't remember all the guys, but those two guys breathing down the neck. I mean, Orndorff wanted to be the champion bad. Roddy wanted to be the champion. I mean, it was a shoot. Can't get out of that damn belt. For me, it was 9 guys voting on it. You know what I mean? and hoping that Harley would put me over.
But last 3 or 4 years, Todd and I had to be real close friends. I mean, so close friends that I could really give him a hard time, and really nice to tell him when we got to be close friends. I said, "Wow, you dumb, stupid. Can you imagine if he's done a job for me? Then I could have trusted you, and we could have flipped that belt back 4 or 5 times. But how could I do business with you if you wouldn't do a job?" And he goes, "Oh my God, you're so right. I wish I'd have done that." But when we got to be friends, the last 3 or 4 years, I used to tease him all the time about it. Okay, and the no-sell small Piper.
Oh, yeah, the hot rod, yeah. Well, he created that, God rest his soul, but he created that unrest with Vince. So it wasn't just you. He made Vince nervous. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But now we became friends. I told him years later, if you would have just done a job for me, then I would have trusted you to flip that belt back and forth, and we could have been beating each other. And I said, "Can you imagine what the run would have been if you'd have been the champion 4 or 5 times?" He goes, "Oh my God, you're killing me."
Yeah, no, I know, but it's funny because it was the one thing I'm going to say, and I'm consistent about this, and Hulk, you know it too, right? It's the most insensitive business in the world, even to this day.
Tell me about it.
No, I'm talking about the camaraderie. You're going to end up having a couple guys you're really close to, but ultimately it's like here when people like you don't get it. Hulk Hogan and I are friends. The picture drawn between he and I in animosity and that, it's almost like a work. Does that make sense? If we argue, yes. If we agree to disagree, yes. But it's never, ever affected anything. And I'm just going to tell you something, guys. There are 3 people in my life that I know if I need something, I can count on. And what do you mean by need something in life, guys? When it comes right down to it, what do you need sometimes that everybody says they'll do for you, but they can't do it? What is it?
Time, money.
It's called a dollar. It's called a dollar bill. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And 3 people I know I could call right now, tomorrow, and I have called all 3 of them: Vince, Hulk Hogan, and Conrad Thompson. Hulk, when he helped me with Reed, like Reed was going to the hospital. I didn't want to tell WWE he was having problems. I called Hulk. Hulk had me call his accountant, and bingo, 15 minutes. Conrad, bingo, Vince, same thing, right? And that's sometimes people don't look at it like that. Everybody's, "Oh, yeah, I'll take care of you. I would love you," right? Forget it.
Yes, sir. I sure would, man. It's I've been through a couple things.
I mean, you didn't do it. You just said, "How's he doing, man?" And then the time you came up and we had the wrestling match, you donated your time.
Yeah.
Then we put 1,800 people in that high school gym, and with him and Reed and the Nasty Boys. Hulk was the referee.
Well, I had to be there because that was Reed's first match, and they were in there with mobs. I just wanted to.
No, I know it was great. Now, you were awesome, but I'm saying this poor limo driver, the Nasty Boy, the one. So this guy is so excited to drive Hulk around, right? And the Nasties. I said to Dwight, his name is Dwight. I said, "Dwight, do me a favor. This is like 11:30 in the morning. I'm out there picking up Hulk, thanking her. A lot of people are going crazy." Hulk also came to the opening of my first gym, too, with Jimmy, which was another cool thing. And it's funny. Hulk comes to the opening of my gym. The mayor gives Hulk the keys to the city. I haven't got one yet.
Dude.
True, Charlotte. I remember the mayor came and gave him the key to the city.
Yeah, that was a beautiful gym.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful gym.
Yeah, it was the first one I built, and I ended up with 10 of them. So, but anyway,
man,
what was I saying about
Hulk, let's talk about being champ a little longer. You were talking earlier about how, it really is kind of a shoot in that, if you're the champ and you're drawing money, you get paid more. Why do you think Bret Hart has taken that so personal in recent years? I mean, even this year, he's still bringing it up, and he always brings up your name in a negative connotation, whether it was WrestleMania 9 or SummerSlam or whatever the internet story is. Why do you think that?
Well, he brings up my name, too. It's his fault. It's Hunter, Sean, everybody. I don't know what the deal is.
I'm not exactly sure what he's saying. I mean, I've heard so much stuff. I just heard one general interview where he mentioned that, I wasn't his favorite person or called me, just some derogatory names. But I don't know. I mean, I've heard stuff that, I heard he said I was erasing his name in the book and single-handedly ruined his career, just all kind of insane stuff. I was really looking forward to working with him when he came to WCW, but he just fallen off that bike and had a stroke or something. And there was some type of limitation.
It was the Goldberg. He got the concussion from
or something. Right? Something happened. There were some sort of limitations that I did get to work with him a couple of times, and we just, we went out there and dug a little bit, but, I was extra cautious because I can't remember what the physical thing was, but...
he was working with a concussion during the time, but that was before the bike, but he did have a concussion.
Yeah, I can't remember, but there was some, but I just don't know what happened, it was like, got me. I don't know. I don't really understand.
Did you wrestle? Did you wrestle, Brett, at WCW? I didn't know you did.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did.
I've lost track of some of that. Jeez, that's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to talk.
Yeah, so I just don't understand. What first off, for me, life's too short, brother. I got nothing but love for Bret Hart. I mean, I can't sit here and point fingers here at 62 years old anymore, but I just don't understand it. I hope he changes his position on it, and whatever it is, I hope he's fine, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, let me tell you, and I'm just like you, because we had Eric on here a couple weeks ago, and I just said, life is too short. You're worried about the things, and I mean, and I know we're bouncing around again here, but with me and Hulk, what made me mad at WCW wasn't Hulk. It's that Eric, every time I did something with Hulk, it sold out. Okay? But he was just like, it was his style of doing business, which I've said out loud. It was divide and conquer. He had Macho and Hulk here, right? He had Sting and Luger here. He had Kevin and Scott Hall over here, right? And he had me and Arn just walking around in a circle and going to the bar with Gene Okerlund.
Yeah.
My take on it. And then here, let's get Flair. He can do this, right? And then I went to him and I said, because Hulk said, man, I think I want to go back to the red and yellow. I said, man, I can do it. I promise you. And we shot this angle. We were talking about it the other day at the Molly's event. We did like almost $600,000 in Chicago at the United Center, 230 in Milwaukee, not in Bradley, but the small building. And then we just stopped by Detroit on the way home and did like $400,000 at 3 in the afternoon, right? And then TV Monday and Hulk was doing something else. He just, Eric just wouldn't let me run with him. And it was ridiculous because we just sold out. And we gave him like 20-minute matches. We weren't going out there for 3 or 4 minutes arguing about the finish. Didn't matter what the finish was, man. I took a blade, he took one, and we tore it down. I got news for you, brother. Hulk will carry 2 of them. One on his wrist and one on his mouth. He ain't afraid, Conrad. He knows the deal.
Dr. Flair's in the building.
When we were in Australia, we both needed a medic after the matches.
Oh, God.
He goes to me, we're in the dressing room, and we had like 15,000 people on it. It was the Hulk Hogan tour. In his back, he could hardly walk. He's standing there, he said, brother, man, just got to go real slow. I said, Hulk, don't worry about it, man. So we plugged in Lacey Von Erich to be my manager, which was a huge mistake. Poor Lacey. Killed Jimmy Hart. But me and Hulk went out there 4 nights in a row. And that might have been the most fun I've ever had in my life. 4 nights in a row. Didn't do anything. Right? The same old tap, boom, boom, boom. And I don't think you could lift your leg at that time, could you? Yeah, that's where it was. Boom, down we went. But, man, we were bleeding. It was major. Whatever we lost in terms of scientific moves and wrestling strategy, we made up for in blood.
Yeah. It was problem. Jesus.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing. The funny thing was we go to this press conference, and Hulk pulls me aside. There's like 300 people, press from all over the country, right? Hulk pulls me aside and says, hey, just we won't tell anybody, don't smart anybody up. Just when I say something, when we figured out the verbiage with Jimmy, and Jimmy didn't know about it, I said, just nail me, man. I'll take a blade on what. So, Jesus. Hulk said something, I look at Jimmy Hart, I said, you're nothing but a dang stooge. And then Hulk jumped up and said, you can't say that. I flew out of my chair and nailed Hulk. Boom, he went down, whacked himself. Well, now I got the Nasty Boys, Beefcake, everybody else, trying to kill me to shoot. I couldn't get to him. And then here the cops come to the hotel to arrest me. I told that promoter, I said, listen, pal, you tell them this will work. I'll do anything for Hulk, but I ain't sitting in the jail here in Sydney. Excuse me.
No, it was set up nice and easy, man. It was fine. It was good.
Are you kidding? We had so much fun on that tour. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
The best.
Well, the thing was, every time I worked with you, everything we did, from often to working on the stage to everything we did was completely just safe. I mean, completely safe.
Well, you know me, man.
Working with you, especially in Australia, you were the only one I trusted. I mean, it was like just sitting in my lounge chair watching TV, working with you. It was a blast.
Yeah. Well, thank you. But it was that easy for me, too. Let me tell you something. We're TNA. I know we're bouncing around, but these are all good stories. And so Hulk's out there in the ring, right? And Hulk can talk me into anything. He said, look at Rick. He said, this thing will be cool as hell. We'll put you in a wheelchair. I can't remember the storyline. And we'll just push you down the ramp, and I'll clothesline you damn thing off the goddamn wheelchair. Did you see it, Conrad, on TNA?
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
I'm standing out there, and Hulk's in the middle of the ring, and I thought he had I said, what's he got a cell phone in his hands for? And he's cutting a promo on me, right? And I looked and I said, what's he got a cell phone in? And Jimmy said, hey, a cell phone, that's his stem thing to keep his back from hurting so bad. I said, is that bad? He said, you remember that, Hulk?
Yeah.
Well, you're pushing that button to keep yourself going. And I'll be damned if he didn't roll out of the ring, come after me. Somebody shot me down the ramp, he clotheslined me. And the people went crazy, because that was a tough crowd to track. Wrestling fans, as much as the people, paying to get into the park, very, very similar to what we did the stuff with WCW. So you're not going to get true wrestling fans, but if it was me and Hulk, or me and Sting, or Hulk and Sting, or where they really understood storylines from yesteryear, TNA could be great. Otherwise, forget it. You know what I'm saying, Hulk? Because half the time I was there with you, you were not just having surgery. You were gone like about 5 months at a time. So
yeah, and I'll never say a bad word about Dixie Carter. She stuck with me through all that. That's for sure. But yeah,
if I said anything about Dick, I would say how easy it is.
No, I know. Yeah, you're right. I had a lot of surgeries when I was there. But that crowd that came in from the park wasn't a wrestling crowd.
Right.
And if they didn't know Ric Flair or Hulk Hogan from, so it was like really pulling teeth out there. But we made it work.
Yeah, I mean, Kurt Angle was over good too, but Kurt wasn't there for a while, because of their personal problems he and Jeff were having. But I mean, there were some great guys. We had some, James Storm and those guys. We had some good stuff going on, but we just, always seemed to be whoever was booking it. They had 14 different people booking it, from Russo to Pritchard, all of them smart in their own way. But nobody, and of course, Dixie would be sitting in the booking meetings, and God love her, but she doesn't know a lot about wrestling. That's it, which is not her responsibility, right? But, everybody's got these little niches, and God, I thought, what the hell? But, how easy. You get there at 3 o'clock, you go to work at 6, you're back at the hotel bar by 8. In a limo.
Yeah, that was definitely a good little pass-through there. That bided some time. That was a lot of fun working there.
So let's talk about, Rick just brought up a name that, has been pretty controversial, especially with link to your name, Vince Russo. Kind of set the record straight on Bash at the Beach 2000 once and for all. What exactly went down there?
Oh, my God. I had, I had a contract renegotiation at the beginning of the year, and Eric and I had planning on, I guess it was Starrcade the last match of the year, I think.
That's right.
We were planning on Rick and I having that final match at Starrcade, and we just didn't like the finish. I didn't know what the finish was. I had creative control, and I never used it, and all of a sudden, Johnny Ace, wanted to come over to my house. Eric was asking me about this guy in Japan, Animal's brother. Well, I thought him. I said, well, he's been working with Baba's group for a long time, and he knows the business real well. I know he's been in the office. I don't know if he's wrestling anymore, but if you need help, he'd be a good guy to help you. So Johnny came in, and little did I know, a few years later, I got Johnny coming over to my house, pitching this finish for Bash at the Beach, And I said, well, which one do you like, Johnny? Well, he goes, well, personally, I like you dropping the leg and beat you. And I explained to Johnny what we were going for December, and he gave me two other finishes. One of them was when Steiner ran down and interfered, and thing got DQ'd and thrown out. And then there was another one without Steiner. And I didn't agree to any of them. And I guess Russo kind of went into business for himself. And, Johnny Ace told me Russo wasn't real happy about, wanting to beat Jeff and then move on to Flair at Starrcade or whatever that last pay-per-view was. And, I just went ahead and sent a letter, I don't know if it was a fax, what we sent on that Friday to the WCW offices that I was going to call the finish and exercise my creative control, and thank you for the suggestions. And Russo just went out there and told Jarrett to lay down. And I asked Jeff not to get up. I said, but don't do this. Let's have a match. Let's do the right finish. And Jeff wouldn't get up. Basically, that was it. I walked out of the building. Russo went out and still staying in the business for himself, shot his angle with his promo, and the rest is history. I would have been able to renegotiate my contract. That's why I worked with Reggie. Probably added a couple more years on there, but I ended up in court with Russo and WCW and ended up settling with them.
Well, I didn't know that. What the hell? Where was I?
You were in the desert.
I must have been. I must have been wrestling Conan or something. I know. I vaguely remember all this. Now, obviously, I've heard the story, but was that in Daytona they were doing that, or in California?
It was Daytona.
Daytona. That's okay. That's what I thought. I don't think I was on that card. And that probably might not have been. Maybe that's when I had my rotator cuff surgery.
The thing is, Eric Bischoff has the details of the story because he was in the office, and he had to deal with the letter that I sent, and then he had to deal with that chain of command. I don't know if it was Harvey Schiller or I can't remember who was in there, but when all this stuff went down with Russo, I know he had like an all-day Friday session with what we were supposed to do and what we had to do, and there was a bunch of internal stuff that was going on. Russo wanted one thing, and I wanted something else, and it just, instead of, legally I had the right to call the finish, do what needed to be done, and you saw what happened.
All right, we've got a brand new sponsor for Woo Nation this week, and I'm excited to tell everybody all about it. And if you're enjoying the podcast, please support our sponsors. And this week, we've got to tell you about LD Products. Are you spending more than you need on ink and toner? You don't go to the car dealerships to buy gas, so why do you go back to the printer manufacturers to buy your ink and toner? You don't need to do that anymore. Now you need to go to ldproducts.com. They are your ink and toner experts. The ink and toner experts are at ldproducts.com. They offer a quality alternative at a fraction of the cost. You can save up to 70% off of all these expensive name brands. They've been in business for 16 years and they ship more than 6 million cartridges a year. They must be doing something right there at ldproducts.com. And how cool is this? They still have U.S.-based customer service. They're doing it 7 days a week from their huge building. It's 110,000 square feet. Rick's always talking about the Conradison. That is a lot of space. 110,000 square feet, and it's right there in California. There's an unprecedented lifetime customer satisfaction guarantee on all the LD brand cartridges. And let me tell you, you can return any product for any reason. It doesn't get any easier than that. But now here's the cool thing. We've got a special offer for the Woo Nation listeners. You get free shipping and an additional 10% off ink and toner at ldproducts.com. All you've got to do is use promo code FLAIR at checkout. That's right, free shipping and an extra 10% off, all by using the promo code FLAIR at checkout on ldproducts.com. Now, this offer is valid through the end of the year, December 31st, 2015. It excludes OEM, and there's free shipping to the continental U.S. What you need to do right now, if you enjoy Woo Nation, is go to ldproducts.com, pick up your ink and toner, and go ahead and get your 10% off and free shipping just by using promo code FLAIR right now at ldproducts.com. Now, let's get back to more Woo Nation with Hulk Hogan.
So you mentioned his name briefly there, Hulk, talking about Scott Steiner, and I know we're not going to talk about earlier this year, but where do you think the animosity from him comes from? I never understood that. It seemed, as a fan, that you guys never really crossed paths that much. Why do you think he has such an issue with you?
I know by creating these issues, I know he's keeping his name alive. I know that much. I can't think. I like Scotty. Sometimes at TNA when there was a finish or something that needed to be done, no one wanted to talk to him. They sent me down a couple times to explain to him creative what we were doing. Some of the people were afraid to talk to him. I always get along great with him, and then all of a sudden there's been this turn the last couple of years. I don't know what it is. I didn't run TNA. I know I've been accused of that. TNA's still up and running. But I don't know what the animosity is.
Yeah, either do I. I know. I see him once in a while now, and we get along fine. But I know that he jumped at me a couple times. Through interviews and that. So I don't know. But once again, life's too short. His brother.
Yeah.
Even he and his brother aren't as close as they used to be for some reason, which is pretty sad because at one time they were inseparable. But Ric doesn't even do bookings anymore that I know of, does he, Conrad?
Yeah, he does occasionally. You'll see him at a signing here or there. But Scott's still out there, and he's actually opening a Shoney's in Ackworth, Georgia, not too far from you, Rick.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, it's concept of Shoney's with liquor. I'm trying to get one for Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, it's right off the interstate, so hopefully he does well with it. And I know everybody did well when Hogan was on the card for a long time, and there's a story that back in the day, Hulk, people used to come to you and thank you for the great payday because they knew if they were on a card you were main eventing, then that was a good deal for their check as well. But then 96 rolls around, it's Bash at the Beach, we're back in Daytona, and Kevin Sullivan tells a story that you were kind of reluctant to do the heel turn and spent the night at his house the night before. What was going through your mind, Rick, when you first heard that Hulk's going to be a bad guy? That's not something people had seen maybe since the 70s, and now in 96.
Well, everybody's going to take this wrong. I never liked it. To me, there's 4 or 5 guys in the business, and I clearly have wrestled all of them. There's a couple of guys that just couldn't be healed, okay? Well, ultimately, I was wrong with Hulk. But, I just saw Hulk Hogan as this guy, like Ricky Steamboat, different level. Sting I never liked as a heel, and don't think I ever could, and I didn't like Jack Briscoe. But Jack could be a heel because wrestling was different back then. But there were just some guys that were so good, and all these years of milk and vitamins. Our interviews, if you go back, he'd be talking about milk and vitamins and going to church, and I'd be talking about whiskey, booze, hookers, and going to the nightclub and running around the airplane with my clothes off. That was our gimmick. So maybe I was just jealous. I said, man, they're taking the Golden Goose away from me. What am I going to do? Because they won't let me do it. I went to Hulk. I said, I want to be NWO too. He said, no, not from that, brother. I want to be NWO too. I'm sitting over here, man, going, this ain't working for me. And the funny thing is, though, I love the NWO, and who didn't, right? Until when it was just you, Kevin, Scott, and Waltman, right? But every week they added another one, and to me it just diluted it. At the end you guys had 400 guys. Yeah, it watered it down. It should be like, you having 14 guys wearing your outfit, you know what I mean? And sitting in the front row is the same thing. And half of them never talk, but they're just standing there in NWO. And I don't know, to me it diluted it. I guess I like Bishop, I thought was good in a role with you guys, but clearly the 3 guys, the Wolfpack, I'll put Waltman in there because he was there and he's a nice kid. But it was you, Kevin, and Scott Hall and Waltman.
When you talk about that whole WCW thing, and we talk about the cliques of Luther and Sting and you and R and wherever they had me and Randy and Scott and Kevin, I think if it would have been Eric Bischoff that was 10 years older, if he'd have been 10 years older and he could look back in his crystal ball, I think Eric kind of stepped into this tornado that turned into being the biggest hurricane he'd ever seen. I didn't think he realized this thing was going to kind of take off that much. And I've teased Eric before. I said, boy, if you could go back now, you wouldn't be such a mark for the boys, because some of the boys are playing him like a fiddle, and I think that, if he would have kind of like stood his ground, steadied the course, he would have had a much better shot at going to where he wanted to go. And I just think I just think he was about 10 years too soon. I think if he would have been in there now or a few years, he'd probably agree that he'd have had a better handle on things.
Yeah, well, when I came back, you were doing Thunder in Paradise, right?
Yeah.
Well, you were doing a series, Thunder in Paradise, right? And with Carol Altman. Was that her name?
Yeah, you had.
What's her last name?
Carol Alt.
Carol Alt. Yeah, okay, so. Okay. So that's when, like, Ole Anderson said, "What are you worth to me? I just, put Henning over on Raw, and I was coming back, and I get there, and he said, you just did a job on national TV last night." And I looked at Ole and said, "I'm going to show you what I'm worth to you." And I went next door to South Bob, too. And I said, "I'm going to walk out of here, or Ole will be gone. KOB." So, trust me. And then up came Eric. And Eric goes to me. I was there about 2 weeks, and Eric said, "Do you know Hulk Hogan?" I said, "Yeah, I don't know about that. Can you get a hold of him?" I said, "Yeah." So I called Hulk, and I said, "I don't know what you think of this. It's a little different, but they got a lot of money here, man." So we flew down to Orlando, got in a caravan. Hulk was filming out in the damn jungle. Remember? And I sat out in the car and drank beer, and then went in Hulk's trailer, and we came back, and 2 weeks later, Hulk was coming. Then he says to me, "You know Savages too?" I said, "Hell yeah." So we went down and got Randy, and we just built the team, man. It was fun.
Oh, man.
I just wish Eric would have kept me in the loop. It's great.
I think he'd have done a lot of things different if he'd have had a few more years under his belt.
Yeah, no, I forget. Listen, I look back, and I was mad at him, but you had nothing to do with what I was getting paid. You know what I mean? We put it to rest the other day. I don't think about it. I had my gyms, like I said, and the gyms, that Linda McMahon got me going in the gym business. And I'll tell you this, I'm going to tell you something I've never told anybody. This the God's honest truth. Okay, I knew that I was really a good wrestler, right? And I knew that people respected me for wrestling that, but I never thought I had much physique, right? And at one time I had a pretty good physique, but nothing like Hulk or anything, right? Because Hulk would just make himself foot over. As hard as Hulk wanted to work out, that's no good look. Because one time he thought he was getting slack, and Rick Rude was walking around flexing, and the Hulk said, "Watch me tomorrow week." So you remember Hulk week? But so I never walked in the Gold Gym to work out when I was in California because I was embarrassed, and I was going to be a world champion 5 years until Hulk took me one day.
That's wild.
Wow.
That's wild. That's the guy's answer because I knew all these guys. Because I follow bodybuilding and I read the magazines, and I walked in there, and these guys were just, "Hey, how you doing?" I mean, it's so nice. But I actually was intimidated. I've never admitted that to anybody. Because, Hulk was like the guy in the Gold's Gym. I mean, here comes Hulk Hogan. I go, geez, I'm going to be here and to be a champion. Look at him. I mean, it is what it is. I've never admitted that, but I got nothing to hide now. It wasn't about me thinking what my performance was like in the ring. It was just, the stuff that goes on, and that's
what you ended up owning. You ended up owning 3 or 4 of those gyms, Rick? 3 or 4 golds?
10.
You had 10?
I had 10, yeah. I sold them in 2001, and out of that, I netted $3 million, and out of that, 1.5 went to Beth, and 1.5 went to Beth. I didn't know when at that time. We just walked in. Linda's here. We're killing us the whole. We'll be number one. We're blowing Steve Austin out of the water right now.
Oh, gosh. Hey, so Hulk, you said a minute ago you thought that if Eric could do it over again, he'd have done a lot of things different in WCW. If you had a do-over, would you have done anything different in WCW?
Been more timid, Oh, yeah. I popped in and out there every Monday. But, if you weren't there every Monday, it was like the lunatics will run the asylum. Because Eric didn't have a really good foundation as far as wrestling finishes are different than storyline and theory. I mean, you really have to be a good finish guy to make the storylines work and the theory, and the theme of whatever you're trying to do. And I just kind of like, if I was there, I'd be talking to Eric one week, and then when I wasn't there, Hall and Nash would be in his ear the next. I really don't know what was happening when I was gone, but they gave Vince, an opportunity to get on his feet. And I just think there wasn't attention to detail. I just think everybody gets big, fat, and happy too quickly. And if I could do anything different, I would be there every Monday instead of showing up every other Monday like I did, or whatever the schedule would be.
Hey, so I want to circle back.
Are you talking about for WCW now?
Yeah, Nitro.
Yeah. You know, I'd walk in after being gone with like the lunatics were running the style.
Rick, a little earlier you were talking about when you were NWA champion, you know, there was a formula that the champion got paid, and supposedly it was 10%, and the talk is that Botch, you know, in Houston would go ahead and do that, and a few others, but maybe not everybody followed the same formula. But as a rule of thumb, 10% for the champion is what we heard for the NWA. But we've always kind of heard that Vince's was more subjective. Hulk, do you remember back in the day when you were champion, was there a theory? Did the boys know? And, you know, without naming any specific numbers, of course, how would you know if this was going to be a good payday or not?
Well, because the building was sold out.
Not exactly sure what the ratio was, but, you know, it was the old school train of thought that, you know, Vince McMahon Sr. took care of the champion, and that was kind of handed down for a while, and I know I hung on to it as long as I could until, you know, I got overturned by Vince and however he did his system. But, you know, for a while it was that way, but I don't have the formula. I really don't.
So do you remember back in the day, as far as the 80s heyday era of the WWF, was the Ultimate Warrior and the whole SummerSlam incident, was that really the first time that something like that happened that you recall? Or was that something that was a constant behind-the-scenes issue and the Warrior thing just really became folklore legend for the wrestling community?
Which situation are you talking about?
Well, supposedly that he held up Vince McMahon for more money at SummerSlam when you guys were doing the Match Made in Heaven, Match Made in Hell 91 deal in New York. The whole deal, you know, we're not trying to speak ill of the Warrior. I'm just saying that particular incident.
No, that's a true story. I've heard that before, too. That was Madison Square Garden, right, Hulk?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and Vince let me know what was happening. I said some derogatory things at the time about what we should do in the ring, and was called on it later because it was put on the videotape, you know, the self-destruction tape. It was different. It was different, you know.
Well, was that the first time that happened, though?
With me, you know, with me being around the business, but I've heard it happen other times before. I mean, I know I've heard that same situation, you know, and this is just a rumor, so I don't know if it's true, but I know there's independent guys that, you know, have said Jim kind of like did the same thing to them on a couple independent situations, but maybe it was a one-time thing, who knows.
But it wasn't necessarily something that you thought was on Vince's end. You always felt like Vince was fair, maybe not with all the boys because you didn't really have insight as to what he was or wasn't doing there, but at least with you, you know, you didn't have a guessing game as to, hey, am I really getting a fair shake here? You felt like you were fairly compensated back in the day?
Oh, I always thought I was worth more than he was paying me. that was probably one of our biggest wedges over all the years. Was you know, I'd work somewhere, I'd see the house, I'd see the numbers for the pay-per-view, Vince would pay me, I'd disagree, and next thing I know, I'd be back on the beach. You know, that happened several times. But you know, that's just the way it is. I mean. I don't know what the formula was. I just always thought I was worth more than I made, that's for sure.
So when you were coming up, you know, in Florida, the man in Florida was Dusty Rhodes, and of course he's still in our hearts and minds, having passed away just a few months ago. What was the feeling like in the locker room or amongst you and Vince or, you know, whoever your clique was, so to speak, back in the day when the word came down that Virgil Runnels was no longer with Crockett and wanted to come north? The talk is that putting him in polka dots was Vince's idea of a rib, but he still managed to get it over, to his credit. What's your take on your memories on him coming north and finally joining the Dark Force, so to speak?
Well, I mean, Dusty Rhodes had been in Garden before, wrestling superstar Billy Graham in those bull rope matches as Dusty. So it wasn't like he'd never been in the Garden before. But
right.
When he came in full time with the polka dots on, I mean, you know, sometimes you get stuff as a rib, sometimes Vince will make a good cop evil or an evil clown, and then it may go against the grain, but sometimes Vince's vision is different or better or more long-term than some of ours. So when Dusty came up with the polka dots, I wasn't used to seeing that because I was used to the American Dream Dusty Rhodes, but I knew if we got the TV exposure, you know, and if I knew that, you know, he got into the gimmick, I knew he would get it over. I just didn't know what the end game was. I didn't know if it was a rib or if it was a shoot. So I was just kind of sitting there watching it to see how it played out.
Yeah, I hear that too about it being a rib and that, but I don't. Dusty never relayed that to me, and I'll tell you something. If it was a rib, which I don't think it was, Dusty did make it work, obviously. But number two, I can't think of anybody the ceremony and the tribute to Dusty from WWE, meaning Vince and the family, and that when he passed, maybe one of the most cool things I've ever seen. I'm sure you saw the stuff on the network, Hulk, and of course you were at the ceremony and all that with me and you and Jen and me and Wendy and my kids were there. So it was, and I mean they had the whole staff there. I mean, and the whole lockdown, everything. Everybody came, and it was a sad day, but it was probably a tribute to a guy that did a lot for all of us in this business. So I don't, and if it was a rib, it's nothing that will ever be thought of as any more than just a cool. And then, of course, the greatest story of all is, I'm sure it wasn't a time where we popped, but if you look at it now, when Cody was talking about Michelle not having any pictures of any of the guys in the house, and any of the other wrestlers, and he said, "Mom," he said, "well, why don't we have any pictures of any of the guys in the house?" She said, "Why would I want a picture of anybody else when I'm married to Elvis?" It was great, and it was something. I mean, his speech was fabulous. The kid just really he's on fire. I have a lot of time for him. Well, I mean, the whole family, but he manned up and he pulled it off, and it was, it was a real sensitive time, but, it's sad for all of us because he meant a lot to all of us, but, who knows? Anyway, he was a great guy. And
I just couldn't believe,
Well, you called me crying.
I got
a phone call Hulk, and I knew he was calling to say something, but I couldn't understand him, Conrad. He was crying so hard.
He was the reason I got in this business, I just was relentless watching him, and if he wasn't on TV doing a promo, I was really upset until the next week. But he's the actual reason I got in this business,
Yeah.
Wow.
He had the greatest. Ric Flair, you put my family on hard time.
Yeah.
Greatest dude, man. They said he got it from Thunderbolt Patterson, but he took Thunderbolt to a whole new level, man. Jesus.
Also passing away this year, I hate to be such a downer, but it seems like we invariably have to talk about it. Verne Gagne passed away earlier this year, and Verne was really the place where you first started to get your major league push. Would you agree with that, Hulk? And what are your favorite memories of working with Verne?
Well, Verne was the Sly Fox. He helped me right out of the chute. I sent him some pictures from Japan after I got fired from the WWF, for doing the Rocky movie. I went over to Japan. I was living over there for a couple months because I just loved it over there and didn't want to go home. I was homesteading at the KO Plaza there and staying over there for all the tours. And I sent Verne some pictures. He told me to come on in, and he's the one that started the Hulk up stuff. When the guys beat on you, just go down to one knee, don't take a bump. Just got a ton of heat on me with all the boys. But Verne was the one that was teaching me how to work. And Greg was very insightful too. Greg had a good handle on the Hulk Hogan character. So they're the ones that kind of like taught me how to come up, do the no-sell, and that whole Hulkamania style was born. And thank God I had those 3 years in Minnesota to develop the character, because even when I went to wrestle the Sheik, I still didn't have my gimmick down all the way. Even though that night was magical in Madison Square Gardens, it wasn't until about 5 or 6 months later I actually put the whole thing together and figured it out, and had the room service in there also. But
that's my line.
It took a while, but Verne was great. He helped me a lot.
Hey, Hulk, I didn't know. I thought that Vince set you up with that movie. They fired you for making a Rocky movie?
Vince Sr., Gorilla Monsoon, came to me and gave me a Western Union letter, said that Sylvester Stallone wants to talk to you at Allentown TV. I threw it away. Yeah. I went to Japan for 10 weeks, and when I came back to Allentown to make TV again, they gave me another letter. Stallone wants to talk to you, so I called him. I told Vince Sr. that whatever month it was, November, January, February, whatever month it was, I had to go for 10 days to make this Rocky movie. He goes, no, you're not making that. And I said, yeah, I am. And we didn't really argue about it. And so in Fall River, I told Strongbow that I'd seen, in a couple of weeks, because I was flying out to California to make the Rocky movie. He goes, no way. You got to drive to Charlotte. You're supposed to be on TV for Crockett tomorrow. You're supposed to make TV. And I said, I'm not driving from Fall River, Mass. to Charlotte or wherever the hell the TV's at. I'm flying out to LA to make this movie. So I called Vincent home from Fall River, from the arena, Fall River, Mass. And I called Vince in Fort Lauderdale and told Vince Sr. I was going to make the movie. He goes, no, you're not. I said, yes, I am. He goes, well, if you go make that movie, you'll never work here again. And so that's how that happened.
Wow.
Yeah, well, then, Gagne, I mean, here's the thing, because I'm sitting on the outside, but everybody knew, and, of course, I'm very close to Bockwinkel and all those guys, right? Here's my take on this. If he would have put the belt, I don't know why, you guys sold it out 3 times in a row, or 4 times. He was Nick, St. Paul.
Yeah.
He wouldn't put the belt, and he wouldn't, and Verne, old school, like Opie a little bit, he wouldn't give Hulk any marketing opportunities. Am I saying that right, Hulk?
I started selling some T-shirts. I'd go over to Francis Avenue to the Yorkshire Mall and make some T-shirts, Hulkamania or One Scar, 1 Million Enemies. I started selling the T-shirts out of off a little card table in the arenas. And when I went back, when I came back from Japan, I went to Channel 9 there. And Vince had boxes and boxes of Hulkamania shirts. I said, what the hell is this? He goes, I'm making those shirts and selling them. I said, well, what's my percentage? He goes, you don't get any. I said, oh, really? And we got a little argument, a little wrestling match there at the TV station.
Now, I heard all these stories, but, you and I probably have talked about it before, but, that was that old school mentality, man, because nobody ever heard of marketing. That's, how Vince, and then I'm not even sure how it came about, but I knew that you went from Minneapolis to Japan to New York, correct?
Yeah. And I was selling merchandise in Japan. I mean, I was selling merchandise in Minnesota. I was selling headbands, I was selling T-shirts, and making a ton of money doing it. And when I came back from Japan, Verne had started making all my stuff. And said he wasn't going to give me a percentage of it. He was selling it. And he kept picking on me all day. And where Verne would sit at the table with Greg, and then you'd walk 10 feet in front of the backdrop and do the interviews with me and Gene right there at Channel 9. Yeah. Well, Verne would sit on the end, Greg would sit next to him, you'd stand next to Verne, and then when you'd walk in from that position if you're a babyface, and talk to me and Gene. And Verne kept picking on me all day. And finally he goes, we were arguing over the T-shirts all day, and finally he goes, how much did that Matsuda guy teach you? And I just looked at him and I said, enough to beat you. And when I said that, he came up out of that chair like a crazy man. And he charged me, but his feet were slipping like the Flintstones on that trousered floor, And when he went to tackle me, he was falling head first, in his head, and his shoulders fell right into that front chinlock Richard Belzer position, Yeah. And I just hooked him as quick as I could, and I pancaked him on that trouser floor. And he stood up out of his mind. His hair was sticking straight out sideways. He goes, you're in trouble for that. And he went stomping off to the bathroom, I guess, to regroup. And Greg got up and took his sweater off. And David Schultz goes, nah, you don't want to do that. You need to sit down. So that was pretty much the end of my relationship with Verne.
I didn't even know that. I know the feeling, though, man. Oh, yeah. Verne had a short fuse, boy. Wow. Holy cow.
Oh, he came after me. He came after me like he was on fire wanting to kill me. He was just slipping all over the place.
So, Hulk, I got a lot of direct messages after you tweeted out that we were going to be taping today asking if we were going to ask about this, and I guess it's kind of a little weird, but, Rick, I want your stance, too. I'm going to read from Rick's book here. Wyndham's attack on David led to a special match on January 17th, 1999 at the sold-out pay-per-view in Charleston, West Virginia, an incident I've never put behind me. What no one had told me Hogan would be cute and whip David over and over again. It wasn't fair to make my son go through that. He wasn't even really a wrestler yet, but there was nothing I could do. I'd been handcuffed to the ropes. He whipped David like a dog. It was sickening, and I'll never forgive him for it. Obviously, that's 100 years ago. Everybody's good now. What was the deal with the David belt whipping, Rick being handcuffed thing? Rick, you go first.
God, it's funny. I look at it now and I go, it's funny because I thought David would be, broken up. But he came back, and as Hulk will tell you, he couldn't have been prouder that he took it. I mean, And it was designed to get heat. I got all that. Hulk wasn't in the match, but I got it. You know what I mean? I thought it should have been me. You know, I'm used to getting that stuff done to me. You know, and but you know, it's for him. You know, I thought Dave would be really upset. He said, "Dad, I hope did I do good?" And I said, "Yeah, he did more than good." And the next day, he got paid $10,000 for doing it from Eric. I mean, if I'm telling you, Dave would be in the business right now if he hadn't met Stacy Keeper. Yeah, but yeah, I don't know. You probably don't even remember that, but it was just one of those things where it was, you know, it was put together. Me and David and I went down and practiced with two of the best of all time, Kurt Hennig and Barry Windham, for a week. That's all the experience he had. You remember Hulk? And we were in South Virginia. Yeah, but, you know, and then that night, Arn took David out, and David couldn't have been in a better mood and higher spirits. And but Reed was there. I had Reed at that match. So, wow. Yeah. Anyway, I got to finish this story going back to Reed. I started to tell the story.
No, let me give you my spin on the
okay,
whipping with the belt. That belt hurts like hell. That son of a bitch. When you hit somebody with it, you welt up immediately, because when I swing that thing, I swing it wide open. And with no remorse. It's just that old school Johnny Valentine when I broke in Florida. He said, when you kick somebody, you better leave lace prints. That's the mindset I was in that moment. It was like a feeding frenzy. And when you hit somebody with that belt, it hurts like hell. And I would usually hit the babyface with the belt, point to the crowd, look at him, he's no good. And I had the babyface take the belt from me and beat me with it. That was the reason for the belt, was so the babyface could make a comeback with it. And it hurt like hell. I mean, you know, if I hit somebody 5 times, I'd tell them to hit me 5 or 6. And it hurt like hell. When this whole thing came down to David Flair, should I have hit him that hard? Yes. Should I have hit him that many times? Hell no. If I'd have hit him once, twice, the third time, that'd have been it. But we had that whole NWO stretching him out. It was like smelling blood, feeding frenzy. I'm not proud of it at all. I apologize for it, because when I think about it, you know, because that's not who I am. But sometimes when you're out there, it gets intense, and that was one of the times where I wish we'd have hit David 3 or 4 times instead of however many times I hit him. But no, that was out of line completely.
Well, and then eventually you guys had a Yappapi strap match, and I'm just curious, whose idea was that, and what the hell is Yappapi?
That's a Billy Graham, that's superstar Billy Graham and Dusty Rhodes bullshit from back in the day. You know, I just stole it because Billy Graham used to call the Yappapi strap match.
He has that. You and I?
Yeah.
The one we had in Miami?
No. When Billy Graham and Dusty Rhodes had one.
Oh, I thought you said... I thought Conrad asked if you and I had one. I'm sorry.
Well,
no.
Hogan used it in a promo once that Botchamania still has a field day with.
Oh, I got you.
And it's him cracking the belt, just like we were just talking about, and calling it the Yappapi strap match. And I remember thinking, I have no idea what the hell they're saying. Is that English? What is that? What is a Yappapi strap match? I didn't know it came from superstar Billy Graham. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The Nature Boy is going to take a quick trip on Space Mountain. You better be here when I get back.
And Blue Seton is perfect for the Nature Boy, and actually everybody who's natched with him too, for that matter. Are you tired of that awful, toxic, rundown feeling the morning after a night out with a friend? Maybe one who struts around in his robe and yells woo? Well, it's life. You enjoy drinks from time to time, and maybe you don't always eat the way you should. You might even take medication. All that stuff can take a toll on your liver and your health over time. And as we age, these dietary and lifestyle toxins, environmental pollutants, just daily stress can really make it hard for your liver to keep up. Well, Blue Seton is designed to make sure that you have healthy liver maintenance, performance, and protection from the past, present, and future. It's like the best there is, the the best there was and the best there ever will be. For your liver, it's Blue Seton. And the secret to this incredible formula comes from their precise blend of high-purity herbal extracts from the legendary Oriental Raisin Tree and Milk Thistle, with a key blend of ingredients designed to work with your body and offer support against the negative effects of the lifestyle stressors, including alcohol, maybe if you were naching with some friends. It's going to help restore all the key electrolytes your body needs and vitamin C for both a healthy immune support and free radical protection. And best of all, it's going to help rejuvenate and restore healthy liver function from the sins of the past, like last night when we closed down the bar at the Marriott. It comes in handy and convenient quick melt mint tablets with a refreshing mint flavor, and each packet provides a serving specifically formulated to help you keep your feeling your best while you're enjoying the moment and ready to go the next morning. Time to go to work. So here's the deal. If you've been doing your fair share of naching, you need to go with the smarter way to enjoy life responsibly. You need to go with Blue Seton. This is scientifically designed liver and body support. And right now you can get a special offer for all the Woo Nation listeners. You get 10% off at blueseton.com. Check it out for all the details right now. Throw it in your browser right now. It's blueseton.com. That's BLUCETIN. That's BLUCETIN.com. And this is a limited time offer for Woo Nation listeners. Go to blueseton.com, use promo code Flair, and get 10% off. Then you can style and profile and stay all night, stay a little longer. 10% off right now, blueseton.com. Now let's get back to Woo Nation with Hulk Hogan.
I just wanted to go ahead and, as we kind of put a bow on this thing, Hulk, what's your most, prized piece from your career? We just talked about all the different merchandise, but surely you have some mementos that you've kept over your career. Ric's, of course, is probably the Hall of Fame ring or the watch that Shawn Michaels gave him or something like that. But is there something you hang on to that's just really special to you from your career?
Well, I got the Rocky belt from the movie.
Right.
I've got couple of the Winged Eagle belts, the real belts. The night that Jarrett laid down on me, I get that original belt that we used down there. But I think the thing that symbolizes my career, more than anything, not to end on a sour note, but is that I know Ric's got two of them, and I've only got one of them, but that Hall of Fame ring, so that's why. When we talk about this business, like Ric and I are so much alike, it's in our blood. And we've lived for this business. I still live for it. I still record everything and watch it. I'm a bigger mark than Ric is, no matter what he says. But at the end of the day,
my daughter's there.
That's true. I'm a big mark for her too, without a doubt. But
terrible.
Yeah, that Hall of Fame ring is my life. And it's just so sad that I've been taken out of the Hall of Fame, and I don't have a presence anymore in the wrestling business. But I'm going to cherish that Hall of Fame ring, because that's I hang on to that, and that's my whole career to me, that Hall of Fame ring. So that's all I got left, brother. So I'm hanging on to it.
Hulk, is there anything you want to say?
I want you to cherish our friendship, buddy, because I cherish yours.
I love you to death, man. I appreciate it.
I love you too, buddy. I'll never forget, the day I called you. So thank you, and thank you so much for doing this show. Conrad, I know you want to ask what's up. See, if Conrad had his way, he would have you go lay down in a lounge chair right now, Hulk. Get a case of
and just pick his brain over some Miller Lights. Absolutely.
That'd be great.
I want to give you the floor, Mr. Hogan, as we kind of put a bow on this thing. Is there anything you want to say out there to your Hulkamaniacs who are listening? I know this year you haven't done as much media as maybe you have in the past, and you have an open forum here. A lot of wrestling fans are going to listen to this. Just take a few minutes and say anything or everything you'd like to say about how you'd like to be remembered or thought of, or if there's a special message you want to pass along. The floor is yours, sir.
Well, I watched the wrestling on TV, the WWE. I watch all the other shows and download a bunch of stuff from Japan because I'm the wrestling fan of all fans. And the thing that no one can take away from me is how loyal all the fans are and how much love they have for me. The great part is, since I am not part of the wrestling business anymore, I've gone out on different personal appearances, like with Ric this weekend, and gone to different appearances, and the real people, the people that, are out in the world, the red, black, white, yellow, green people, everybody's so loyal and so nice to me. It really is important to me that these people know who I am. it's been a great career. I never dreamed that things would turn out the way they are today. I've got nothing but respect for Vince McMahon and the WWE. That's my home, and I've got some great memories. But I just wanted to say thank you to all the fans that know really who I am and the person that I am. That means the world to me, and it's been a pleasure having a friend that I call the greatest wrestler of all time, Ric Flair.
Thank you, man.
It's been a real honor, Rick, being your friend.
I was going to tell you something. I hope it's not near soon, but I know, and I feel like I got a lot off my chest that night in the garden when I got to say that. Does it make sense? Where you can say it in front of people. Yeah. And I'll tell you what, Conrad, I know you weren't there, but Kevin Nash and Scott Hall went out there, and I thought that would blow the roof off, and then I was kind of like the dressing surprise, right? Man, that crowd, I walked through that door with me and Hulk looking at each other. Today we started chanting, "This is awesome," and it went on for about 3 minutes. Remember, Hulk? And this is again one.
Yeah, that was great.
It was phenomenal. I got to say how I felt about him and how he's helped Reed and my family and just stuff. And it was a personal moment. And then, as we've done so many times in the past, we went back to the hotel and got wrecked. I had a 4 o'clock flight to Las Vegas. And had to sign for 4 hours. I wanted to kill myself. I was in bed at 5 p.m. in the afternoon in Vegas. Shocker. God, I was hungover. Christ.
Yeah. I was in a bad way.
Oh, we've had fun, Hulk. Thanks so much, man.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hogan.
Thank you, Rick.
This is unbelievable as a wrestling fan. I'm, of course, the first wrestling fan to hear it because I was on it. But you guys don't understand, this is as good as it gets as far as wrestling goes. And to have both of you here at the same time and just to be able to sit back and feel like we're in the car as you guys go up and down the road was such an honor. There's this famous phrase amongst wrestling fans, the Mount Rushmore of wrestling. The two that are never debatable are here today, and I just can't thank you enough for allowing us the opportunity to speak with you today, Mr. Hogan.
All right, my brother. You and Rick have a great day, and I'll be seeing you soon, Rick.
Okay, Hulk. Thanks, man, so much, okay?
Thank you so much, sir.
Love you guys. Have a good day.
Thank you, buddy. You
Bye-bye.
too.
Love you too, buddy. Bye.
Rick, what a podcast, man. Of all the guests I ever thought we could get, Hulk Hogan, you don't get any bigger than that name.
No, I know, and that we just touched it. I mean, so much we could talk about. He and I been up and down that road together for, almost, 30 years, so... Me, 44, and him about 40 now. So, and we spent so much time, even though we weren't working together all the time, we were always, in the forefront of the business from either opposing promotions or, and then of course we got to work together a lot as well with both companies. So, great pleasure for me to have him on the show. I worked with him this past weekend, and that's a great time. And still makes me mad. He gets more people to sign for than I do. I don't know how he pulls that off. I got two Hall of Fame rings, and his line is longer.
Well, I can't imagine, as somebody, who was in the business, who got to see kind of a before and after Vince McMahon and Hulk Hogan really revolutionized wrestling and took it to the next level. But what an impact he had, and I was just so appreciative and thankful. This is not a phrase I'm sure you like for me to use, but I'm marking out. This was awesome. Thank you for having me, sir.
Thank you, Conrad, man. I love you, buddy.
Let's do it again next week right here on
Wooooo Nation.